Yo, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a revised version of the Bible of Hailey with the new weapon cores, changes to her mobbing build, and Infernal Walker out of the game. I thought this would be a good time to do a Season 2 update. As I said at the start, I will not be sharing that Defiler build. I do not suggest anyone even attempt. That was a good 6 hours of mostly failures, and I do not want to encourage anyone to attempt such a thing. So this will be split up into 3 main chapters: Zenith, Firearms, and Mobbing. And first, I would like to go over all of her abilities and how they work. And we will start with her passive ability: Safe Strategic Retreat. Proportional to the distance between the target and Hailey, the weak point damage decreases the closer it is to the target and increases the further it is. Distance 12.5 meters. Weak point damage maximum increase distance 25 meters. Weak point damage maximum increase / decrease 50%. So the way this works is if you are all the way at the 25 meters, you will get the 50% weak point damage increase. But if you go into the halfway point or the negative, which I will show, you actually do lose weak point damage. This is a negative modifier. So as you can see right now, we are far as we can get, and as we get closer, the bar goes down, and once it turns into the red, we are now getting negative weak point modifier on our weapon. And now let's talk about Hailey's first ability, Cryo Rounds. Fires a cryo round at enemies in front to deal damage and inflict cryo. Targets with cryo stacks receive additional damage, lose 1 stack when hit by Hailey's firearm attack. Let's be clear there, firearm attack. So you can get 9 stacks of this on an enemy, and it lasts for 12 seconds, and you will hit for an additional hit of half of the firearm damage that was received. So let's see what this looks like in practice. We will use cryo. We will then shoot 1 bullet, and we will see 1 hit and half of that damage. So now let's move on to our second ability, Storm Snare. And this is just basically a giant chill cannon. This does not scale with your weapon in any way. This is full on skill power scaling, and there's really not much more to say about it. We will just show what it looks like. So her third ability, Cold Fury, and this is an ability that makes her such a strong Descendant because it gives her critical hit chance and critical hit damage on her guns and her skills. So this stacks up to 16 times, giving 2.5% firearm critical hit rate and skill critical hit rate per stack. And when you hit the max stacks of 16, you gain 20% skill critical hit damage and 20% firearm critical hit damage. So let's take a look at our firearm and skill stats before we activate this. We're at 53% and 15%. Now we will go activate Cold Fury. And if you come back to the same screen, you can see it's stacking up. And now we're at 100% critical hit rate and 100% skill critical hit rate, plus the added skill critical hit damage at the 16 stacks. And as for her fourth and final ability is going to be Zenith. And this is going to turn her into a unique weapon. Now, the way this works is there's 2 hits to Zenith. There is the firearm hit, which is based off of the firearm that you are holding when you cast Zenith, and there is the skill damage hit. And we will demonstrate this right now. Very simply, we'll go into Zenith, and we will see a skill damage hit and a firearm hit. And now let's get into the firearm build for Hailey. This is going to be one of my favorite builds in the whole game. She is one of my favorite boss killers when it comes to using firearms. This is simply a overwhelming shield build. So we have overwhelming shield with our 2 shield mods and our 2 HP mods. We also have shot focus, maximize conservation and strong mentality for great skill cost, and MP conversion for some added cooldown. We are mostly looking to get our 1 at a pretty decently low cooldown for the added damage on firearm hits, and it is going to be a 4.5 second cooldown like this. Now, as far as our reactor, I've gone with cooldown and cost. To me, this is the best option that you can make here. If you have gold cooldown, gold cost, and it is not chill dimension, you can also use that. I just happen to have this frozen phase reactor. As far as our components, we are running a 2-piece invader. So the auxiliary power is max HP, MP recovery out of combat. The sensor is max MP, MP recovery in combat. And then I'm running a 2-piece slayer. This isn't going to give you the most shield, but I like the 8% general rounds capacity. So on the memory, MP recovery modifier and defense, and on your processor, max shield with toxin resist. Now, as far as our weapons, we will go over 4 weapons in total. The first is going to be our Enduring Legacy. For our cores, I have gone with bonus firearm attack versus Colossus, firearm critical hit damage, and grappling hook cooldown. For substats, firearm attack, firearm critical hit damage, bonus firearm attack versus Colossus, and firearm critical hit rate. As far as our build, we are using sharp precision shot. We're using expand weapon charge with 2 fire enhancement mods, and other than that, a bunch of crit mods and our firearm attack mods. For our smithereens, which is mostly going to be used on Stalker when he is down, we have rolled the cores of electric attack and bonus firearm attack versus Colossus with the substats of electric attack, firearm attack, bonus firearm attack versus Colossus, and firearm critical hit damage. And as far as our mods, we're using a real life fighter build, and we have built into electric with 2 electric enhancement mods. We have targeted vulnerability, shell up. Some people are confused about shell up. This does not add shots to your gun. This adds pellets to each shot that you take. And after that, we are building into critical hit damage and firearm attack with fire rate up. As far as a second shotgun, you can go with Executor. It is the better Colossus shotgun. For our cores, electric attack, bonus firearm attack versus Colossus, electric attack, firearm critical hit damage, and bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. Now, specifically for Stalker, we are using electric, but I have this set up for all elements, as you can see. And for our last weapon, this is simply a general rounds ammo economy weapon, and is due to the mods we are using with general rounds compulsive and expand general magazine. This is going to give us more max general rounds, and normal special rounds refining is going to give us general rounds when we pick up special rounds. As far as an inversion reinforcement for her for this build, I go with full MP regeneration with selective neurostimulation and neuroconcentration reinforcement, and then simply just match the focus rounds to the Colossus's weakness that you are fighting. So for Stalker, we would use electric. Now there is a second build that you see me use for something like Gluttony and lower content, and basically it's going to be a HP draining build because we're going to use Walk a Tightrope with the Annihilation set, and you'll be doing this with conditional recharge, and you simply just spam your skill before the fight to drain your own HP, which is going to proc Walk a Tightrope, and is also going to proc the Annihilation set. That would be a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea to show it to them. That's pathetic. That's so bad. So let's get into our Zenith builds. And first up is going to be our Zenith Burst build. This is going to be a full-on damage build, no cooldown. This is a 45-second cooldown on Zenith, so you will be using this for everything underneath Gluttony. So Molten Fortress and down, you will one-shot all of those bosses with this build with no issues. As far as a different build that does have cooldown, although it doesn't have a place in the game right now with Infernal Walker out of the game, this is still a good build to have for when Infernal Walker comes back, or maybe a similar boss like Infernal Walker that has that much HP. But other than that, this really isn't going to be used in the game currently. As far as our reactor, you are going chill and singular with additional skill attack to Colossus and critical hit damage. And for your set, you are going to use the Slayer set, max HP, MP recovery out of combat. On your sensor, max MP, MP recovery in combat. On your memory, MP recovery modifier in defense. And on your processor, max shield with toxin resist. Now, as far as our weapons, everything was Perforator with Infernal Walker in the game, but to be honest, everything dies so fast now that you can just use Piercing Light, or you can still use a Perforator. We'll just go over how I've built mine. Now on my cores, on my Piercing Light, I have Firearm Attack to Colossus and Electric Attack because I was fighting Defiler. I do have rounds per magazine. That is not for Zenith. Rounds per magazine do not go to your unique ability. Your cores do not go to your unique ability. And then I have 2 grappling hook cooldown cores. As far as our substats, I rolled into Firearm Attack, Firearm Critical Hit Damage, bonus Firearm Attack versus Colossus, and I do have rounds per magazine at 12% because I built this to get 8 shots of Zenith with the Piercing Light. As far as our mods, we are running Weak Point Expansion build. I do use 1 expand weapon charge to get our 8 shots, and also for your 8 shots of Zenith, you will also want to put on Compulsive Magazine. If you are not doing something where you need 8 shots, I would suggest just taking this off and putting on an element that the Colossus is weak to. As far as our Perforator build, is what we have been using for our cores, Firearm Attack versus Colossus, and Firearm Critical Hit Damage. No, you do not need rounds per magazine. It does not go to your unique weapon. As far as our substats, Firearm Critical Hit Damage, rounds per magazine 12%, bonus Firearm Attack versus Colossus, and Firearm Attack. And for our mod setup, we are using Payout. We are using Concentrate Support Ammo and Expand Weapon Charge to get our 8 shots. When proccing Payout, we are going to get our 11 shots. We are built into Weak Point and Critical Hit Damage. And now let's get into Hailey's mobbing build that I have set up. A lot of this is going to be about the guns, but we can look at the mods, and we are using cryogenic cluster shot. Her mobbing build is very strong. She does very well, especially with Voltia and something like Thunder Cage, and I think she will excel in the future if we see a Void Erosion Purge that is maxed wave, that is weak to chill. We have gone with a decent amount of HP here. She's pretty much built like a tank. We have our skill cost mods, our cooldown mods, and our range mods for the range on the cryogenic cluster shot. As far as the reactor, you just want to make sure you have a chill singular with cooldown. I have a cooldown with chill. It's pretty good. Her skill damage is not too great with her mobbing build. It's mostly about what the weapon can do. As far as a set, we're using the Polar Knight set. For your auxiliary power, MP recovery out of combat, max HP. For your sensor, max MP, MP recovery in combat. For your memory, MP recovery modifier in defense. And for your processor, max shield with shield recovery modifier, or you can do max shield with toxic resist. And now let's get into our Voltia. For our cores, I have gone with firearm attack, electric attack, firearm critical hit damage, rounds per magazine, and bonus firearm attack versus Order of Truth. So this is built for wave 20 of the Void Erosion Purge currently. And for our substats, bonus firearm attack versus Order of Truth, firearm attack, electric attack, and firearm critical hit damage. And as far as our mods, we have built this specifically for Hailey. I would not suggest running this setup without Hailey because we have built into crit with better insight and better concentration and concentration priority. Then we are using Recycling Genius and Expand Weapon Charge for just great quality of life with the weapon. It does reload slow, especially with concentration priority on. So Recycling Genius will make up for that. And we have built into electric with an electric enhancement. As far as our Thunder Cage, and this thing rips elites. We are hitting for about 1.7 million sometimes. We have rolled with electric attack, firearm critical hit damage, fire rate, grappling hook, recharge time. Then we have bonus firearm attack versus Order of Truth, electric attack, firearm attack, and firearm critical hit damage. And as far as the mods, we are running Sweeping Swat again with Expand Weapon Charge and Recycling Genius. We have built into crit. Once again, because we were using Hailey, I would not suggest this build for anyone but Hailey. And we have our electric enhancement mod. And as far as our Smithereens, this is going to be our boss Slayer and is the same setup I had for the Stalker kill, so I will not read over the whole thing again. And as far as her inversion reinforcement, I would suggest the same thing. Select the Neuron Stimulation with Neuroconcentration Reinforcement and Electric Focus Rounds. And that covers everything for the revised version of the Bible of Hailey. I intend to update for each season. Any questions or suggestions about the builds, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe is appreciated. Thanks, guys. Peace.